Hi, and welcome back to O'Fallon Life on Air. This is a special edition of the podcast. We have here in O'Fallon, we're facing in the forecast, some winter weather, some snow is inbound. So this week, with that forecast, we called over to our Public Works Department, and we're gracious enough to have Jay and Rob here joining us today. So they've come over to City Hall to film this podcast and to answer some questions about what we need to do and what residents can do and what the city does when we have winter weather in the forecast. So Jay, Rob, thank you guys for both being here on short notice. I know you're busy right now with this forecast coming in, as well as your crews are out there preparing for this forecast. So thanks for taking the time to do this. First question is, when we have winter weather in the forecast, what does that look like for the city, and how does the city prepare for that?
I'll probably take that one because that's a lot of the upfront stuff I do. Okay. So we're always, during the winter time, we're watching every forecast, whether it's 5 days out, 15 days out. And there's 5 of us watching it. So even if they're going to put a 2%, 20% chance in there, somebody's always talking and what are we going to do? But once it starts ramping up, getting a little closer, then we'll start meeting a little more often. And start about 3 days ahead of time, we'll start having more serious talks on what level we think we're going to come in, how many people we're going to need and things like that. So at that point, we'll send out the updated personnel sheets. They've already taken care of the trucks. And so everybody will notice when they're coming in, when they're not coming in, and what our game plan is. And then, so 2 days ahead of time, we're usually ready or we're still getting trucks together. Okay. And Rob can kind of talk about the truck, that type of thing.
Yeah, the street and storm employees, we go through every snow vehicle we own, put on the plow, the spreader, run them through a checklist, make sure everything is in working order on each vehicle so that we know where that vehicle is going to be and the placement for each level of response that we have.
And how many trucks do we have in the city? Do you have an idea? Ballpark?
Worst case scenario, 50.
50 trucks.
Right.
Okay.
If they're all working.
At best.
and does that range from your standard pickup truck to your what you would consider a snow plow, right? Yeah. So, and these trucks are used throughout the year for other things during the summer, that kind of stuff, and they get retrofitted every winter with the plow and the snow or the salt in the back. So we have an image. I don't know if we can put that up on the screen here for the viewers that are watching on YouTube. So this is a shot of a winter forecast. This is from January of 2025 from the National Weather Service here in St. Louis. Is this what you guys go by?
Yeah, that's one of the main ones we look at. We also have a paid service we use. And I don't know if we're going to talk about it more, but the one thing about these forecasts is they constantly change every day.
Well, that was kind of my next question. Like, so we have multiple major news outlets here, 2, 4, 5, everything that have. Everybody has a meteorologist, and everyone may have a little bit different of a forecast. So is there a gold standard that you would use, or do you kind of take in information from all of them?
I think we take it for all of them because it's hard to tell, because sometimes they'll issue it for 6 inches and 1 inch will come in. Sometimes it'll be 1 inch and 4 inches. But it's hard for us. I don't think people understand that those inches matter because we're either putting a level 1 trucks together or putting level 2 trucks. So if they change it to 6 inches overnight, then we're going to be spending all night putting more trucks together because we weren't prepared for that.
Okay.
So.
And I would assume, like you talk about different levels of trucks and their capability, if we call for a level 2 because the forecast is high, and we go out and salt and brine the roads, and that level 1 ends up hitting 1 inch, we see that as kind of a waste of resources, I guess, right? I mean, we're doing a lot for nothing, or how does that work? Or does that kind of last for a while and it's over-preparedness is good?
Over-preparedness is always good.
Okay.
When it comes to weather, the last thing you want to do is be under-prepared. If they're calling for just 1 inch and we only prepare for 1 inch, if that ramps up and we get 3 additional inches on top of that, we have to pull the guys out from the roads to assemble the rest of the snow vehicles. Then there's no response out in the streets while we're getting that additional 3 inches. So we try to prepare for the worst case scenario of each event. Not overly,
sure,
but we want to make sure we're going to be covered if something changes.
Okay, which is good to know, because as I don't have this information, this knowledge bank, and so when I'm driving, through town and I see the kind of the stripes on the road, right? That's from the brine being put down, or you have the actual physical salt that is laid, and then you're like, where's the snow at? It doesn't seem like it, but there is a reason why that's there, and that's to be prepared because there's always something coming after it potentially. So, what should residents expect to see then, as we're preparing the roads when we have a forecast like this coming in?
They're not going to see too much in the preparation stages. They might see our trucks out spreading the salt brine on the roads beforehand. But other than that, we're focusing on making sure each vehicle is equipped, ready to go, and functioning.
Okay. And when the weather does hit, and it's going to hit generally every year at least once or twice, it seems like here in the St. Louis area, for O'Fallon, the 7th largest city in the state of Missouri, 2nd largest in the St. Louis metropolitan area outside of St. Louis itself. That's a big undertaking, I'm assuming, for our public works, for the street crew here in O'Fallon who do a wonderful job. What are we looking at as far as how much roadway are you guys maintaining? Is your crew out there clearing every time an event happens?
Yeah, I think now we're up to about 720 miles of lane miles we cover.
Okay.
So yeah, that's split up into different regions, different areas. We have some trucks that are just for the arterials alone. So we have what we call 3 tandem teams, 3 teams of 2 each that will, a north side, a central side, and a south side. They'll take care of those arterials. And then each route has at least 1 truck in it at the beginning, and can have up to 3 or 4 depending on the type of event we have.
So you said over 700 lane miles is what the city's maintaining for snowplow removal. Now, does that include, I'm just thinking like if we run up and down Mexico Road, the city street, that's one way. Are you including the back, like right east and west? Is that, or should we double 700 lane miles? How does that factor into it?
Mexico is 5 lanes wide.
Okay.
So 1 mile stretch of Mexico Road is 5 lane miles.
Okay.
So if you add up all of the traffic lanes on all the roads, we're at about 720 right now.
All right. And then I guess the residential street count is 2. Does it double up? If you go to a cul-de-sac, you got to come back out.
Correct.
That's how you factor in the 720 lane miles. Speaking of cul-de-sacs, how many cul-de-sacs do we have in town? Do we know?
We're over 1,200 right now.
Okay.
It's over 1,200.
All right. How that has to be a beast among itself to tackle a cul-de-sac. Can you explain or talk about that at all? On what we do for that?
One of the challenges is every cul-de-sac is laid out differently. Some have center islands in the middle of them. Some have 3-car wide driveways that touch each other. The layout is completely different for each one. So attacking that is different for each one. So they're the most time consuming if we get to that spot. But for the most part, our typical snows up to 4 inches, we're going to go in, make a few passes around the perimeter so that everybody has access in and out of their driveway.
Okay. Up here on the screen, we just put up here and it's an aerial shot for those that are listening. An aerial shot, looks like a Google Earth map image of a cul-de-sac here. This is one here in O'Fallon, and it's the homes, the rest there are duplexes, so 2 driveways to 1 building. And when I'm looking at this, let's just say we had 5-6 inch snowfall, I put a question mark up here, and like, where do you put this at? And like, is it going to be where the question mark is here on the screen? And the question mark, for those that are listening, is probably about a 10-foot run of grass on a curb that doesn't have a sidewalk or a driveway, I should say, that would be impacted. So that's the only, is there other place to put it?
Not really, because I know people think the snow disappears, but it really doesn't. We are just pushing the snow to the best place possible. We have an iPad in each truck, and these guys have done a great job over the years. So for every cul-de-sac in the city, we've got points on there where the best place is to put that snow, because when it snows, you can't see the driveways all the time. You can't even see where that point should be. But so every cul-de-sac does have that. But still, you're looking at a 80-foot diameter cul-de-sac, 5 inches of snow. That is a lot of swimming pools worth of snow, and you got to put it somewhere.
Right.
And it's hard for our trucks to push it at times. So, yeah, some of them, the piles get pretty big. It's not intentional, but it needs to go somewhere.
And so this next image we have up here, another satellite image of a cul-de-sac here in O'Fallon. And those that are listening, it's single family residence, so a little bit more space in between driveways here. So on here, there's 3 red circles, and I'm assuming that's identifying what you're just saying. The iPads would identify for your drivers, like this is the ideal place to put it. So this not just your crews are not going down cul-de-sacs and just shoving it in front of driveways or where they think they should. Right, but like they're not just pushing it where they think they should and driving off without a thought. You guys, as a department, have pre-planned this and, for the most part, mapped out the streets, the cul-de-sacs. Of like, when we have this is where we need to put it, and this is the best case scenario. And we're dealing with Mother Nature. It's not predictable, and you're going to combat it as best you can. So here's another one. Again, same scenario, another image of plow locations and how you guys would do that. I'm assuming you just plow to the right, go down the street and push it to the right side of the road as best you can, and then come out of the cul-de-sac.
Correct.
So, all right.
An image like that, it shows where we can pile the snow once we're in that stage of clearing the cul-de-sac, if we get to that. Prior to clearing the whole cul-de-sac, we are just going to make a few passes around the perimeter, which is going to put a windrow in front of everyone's driveway, just like we do on the straight sections.
So we talk about triaging, or you're talking about how you manage when the snow comes in. The first pass may just be one pass around a street, a residential street, or a cul-de-sac. And the idea of that is to get residents in and out of their home the best we possibly could.
Yes,
and then we'll come back.
During that, while the snow is falling, we may not have that 3 to 5 yet, but we're going to be making our rounds through the whole city at least once through each road while it's snowing. So by the time we get to a cleanup type phase, there's going to be snow around the perimeter and along the edges of every road before we get to cleaning out any cul-de-sacs.
Okay. And when we had these images up again earlier that showed where we would put that, what I didn't notice in any of those images were cars parked in the cul-de-sac, basketball hoops. So that's the best case scenario, right? There's nothing in the road. We can get through here and work as we need to.
Yes.
But I'm assuming that is not the way it actually goes. Even though there is an ordinance prohibiting vehicles parked in the street during a snowfall, we know that you do encounter that quite a bit. We have an image here coming up on the screen where right here you can see snowplow obviously went through, cleared most of the street, but there's a weird spot. Why is there, in this picture here, why is there still snow in front of this one house?
Well, there was a car parked on the street the entire time, and it just didn't move. So we had to go around it the entire time. And so when the car does move, we just get a phone call for that area in particular because we never plowed it, obviously. But yeah, we get this quite a bit. And the same thing with the iPads. Our drivers can put dots on there when they encounter the situation. And then back at the shop or in the offices, we can contact PD. If they have free time, they can go talk to them as well. And there are cases when there's cars on both sides. And those streets we can't get down, so we'll just back out until they're moved. We just can't get on those streets. So it does happen, but not as a lot fewer than it used to. So.
All right. Talking about all the snowfall, we have the snow in the forecast coming in, and last January 2025, we had a pretty significant snowfall, one we hadn't seen in quite a while here in O'Fallon for a few years. And with that, there was a staggering statistic that was put out last year by your guys' department on how much snow you moved in one day, and that was 4 million cubic feet of snow. That's astonishing. Mm-hmm. When I heard that stat last year, I don't think I realized how much we're actually pushing. So what does that look like for your crew, or can you recall what occurred last January and what your crews were combating and how they were working shift-wise and all that?
It was a huge challenge. And the big thing is we're pushing that snow. We're not removing it. We're not moving it. We're not placing it where we would like to. We just have to push it. And unfortunately, it gets pushed off to the sides. When you get snows like that, traction is a big issue. That snow gets heavy. Even some of our largest trucks have a tough time pushing that amount of snow, especially in a cul-de-sac. If that cul-de-sac is sloped upwards or down, some of those trucks get stuck down there because they're trying to push all of that snow and they just don't have the power. So it slows the process down. It creates bigger challenges. So it definitely tests us.
And so we mentioned 4 million cubic feet. It wasn't removed. It wasn't taken to a landfill or moved somewhere else out of the city. Your job is to move 4 million cubic feet on a big snowfall, and just that's what you're doing. You're moving it
Correct.
to the best you can so that residents and visitors to town can safely get through the best they can. And you're doing so trying to move it to a cul-de-sac, move it to a 10-foot spread that might be open, and then come back to it later on. So initially, your job with this one coming in and any snowfall that comes in is to get the roads passable as fast as you can in a safe manner for both you guys and the residents, and then come back in subsequent stages to get the snow moved to a better location. And hopefully at that point, Mother Nature is warming up a little bit, let the snow melt happen. But there's always a good chance here in St. Louis that as soon as you get it moved, we'll get another one.
Right.
And so speaking of that, with more coming in after the initial clearing, what does refreeze look like, and how do you guys manage that overnight when the temperatures drop again?
Well, refreeze is one of the worst things that can happen during an event, especially if we've got more coming in after that particular event. And we try and treat the roads as best we can with salt. And we've got various chemicals we mix with that salt to try and get us below those freezing temperatures and still have effectiveness. But again, if the conditions change by just a degree or two sometimes, that can create a flash freeze. And MoDOT deals with that all the time. And if there's too much traffic on the road, that's going to be a big issue. If we can't get to those affected areas to get them cleared up, it's a nightmare sometimes.
So when we talk about refreeze and chemicals, is a point where the chemicals are no longer going to work. Is that correct? That it gets so cold that what we put down, there's an effectiveness level.
Yes, that's true. I don't know the exact numbers, but there's different chemicals we can add and additives, but negative 20, maybe 30. But again, it's all temperature dependent, and if they're not for free freezing, we don't want that at all. So sometimes you don't want to melt it. So you've got that too. And that happened the last event we had a couple week or so ago. The snow had been done for a while, and we had everything cleared up, but there was a chance for freezing that night, and so we kept people here longer. And so people probably saw us driving around wondering what we were doing. It wasn't that there was more snow; it's just we were concerned with that exact thing. Is it going to refreeze? And if so, we need people here to take care of that. So we are out there a lot longer than people think sometimes, and there's a reason for that.
All right. And again, 7th largest city, pretty big spread geographically. Going all the way up Highway 79, all the way to past Highway Double D. In east and west. How do you guys manage different parts of the city? You said earlier you have a north, central, and south location, and you have, I'm assuming, routes within that. So explain to the residents and our listeners, like, trucks are not just driving around aimlessly. Like, you have a coordinated effort here. How does that work, and what can residents expect to see at their house?
Well, we've got, like Jay mentioned, 3 teams of trucks working on the largest roads, our arterials. Those are the most heavily traveled, so we've got 3 teams working on those at all times during an event. We have 12 routes within the city, and we start with 1 truck in each route and then throw more trucks at each route as needed. But we attack the entire city all at the same time.
And then if a truck starts at point A and clears their route, are they going back to point A to start over again? Or how does that, or do they go backwards, that kind of thing? I know, as a homeowner, as a resident, you see a truck go by your street, and then I feel like you don't see that truck again sometimes, but a lot of times they're not coming back at the same time of day. You're looking out the window, they might be coming back overnight. So how do you hit roads more than once?
Once we complete a section, especially while the snow is still falling, that truck's going to go back to its starting point and start over with a second pass through everything. Especially during the snowfall, once we make a pass through everything, if we started at the end point and work backwards, it's not going to be as effective because that end point section is more clear than where he started,
right? Because
it's still snowing. So we have to chase that until the snow stops.
And we look at those routes every year for mileage to make sure they're even, or if we can move streets from one route to another each year because they're getting too big. And that happened this year. We had a lot of bigger changes than normal because all the building we're doing down south. So yeah, it does happen. Each route right now averages about 50 miles residential. So each of those 12 trucks is responsible for about 50 miles. So you do the math, if they're going 15 to 20 miles per hour, you might not see them for 3 to 4 hours. So not uncommon.
Which is probably why it's common they haven't been on my street, and I wake up the next morning and the street's cleared because your folks are out there 24 hours a day when this is happening, right? You're working in stages, you're sending folks home for rest, but they're coming back. And then one thing that we saw last year was your crews are out here for days on end, right? Going home, getting rest, obviously, and then coming back and staggering those times. But one thing that people I don't think realize that when they get home, they have to now clear their own driveway, and things like that. So before we end here, I want to make sure you guys go back and thank your crews for everybody here at the city and residents on what they're doing, working tirelessly to get these roads cleared as fast as they can. And it doesn't sound like anything we've talked about today is on a playbook, right? I mean, every one is different. Like there's not like we know how to handle this. Because we do this one every time. It's different amount of snow, different amount of ice, duration. I assume if it all came down at one time and ended within 3 hours, it would be
that'd be great.
Be great, right? But it never seems to go. As soon as you get it cleared, another wave is coming in. So you guys do a great job. The whole city appreciates the work you guys, and a lot of it is behind the scenes. A lot of it's overnight and it's not seen, but it's definitely appreciated as soon as you can get your car out and go shopping and get to check on family, in a safe manner. But who else is involved in this? I know Public Works is the department, streets manage the snow response, but who else is involved with this effort?
It's almost everybody in the city some way or shape or another, because we have so many miles, but we only have so many Public Works employees, so many street employees. So we pull from all different groups to help us with that. You've got the Parks Department, you've got the Water and Sewer, Building Department, construction inspectors. Then you got the behind the scenes, you got GIS helping us with our maps. You got the great communication division that gets stuff out when we need it before we even think we need it. So it's really everybody, and everybody takes it serious in the city, and it's a phenomenal job they do all around. So,
and while you guys are here, Public Works is out here working. We also have the Fleet division.
Fleet's there as well. Sorry,
Fleet is here with you guys, and because a lot of times there are breakdowns, right? I mean, even if it's not the truck itself breaking down, a component breaks down, right? I mean, snowplows have shear pins. If one of those break, how does that work? If you're down south and you need something breaks, what does that look like for a truck?
If that truck can't make it back to be repaired, we will mobilize Fleet staff to their location to get it fixed and ready to go. But yes, we have at least 2 mechanics on hand for each shift, daytime and nighttime, to keep us on the road. And they do a great job.
I don't think I didn't realize that. I know if a blade breaks or something on the blade were to go out, you can take it there, have it repaired. Obviously, that's a hindrance to the operation on that route. That truck's off that route. I didn't realize that Fleet's coming out, that personnel is coming out to you in the winter weather, in the snow, to get it done, to get it back in operation. So there's not a shutdown. Like, oh, sorry, this route's closed. We're getting back out there. So that's really good. So we talk about, Fleet coming down anywhere you are, any part of town. One thing that just kind of came to mind is that O'Fallon has a major state highway that runs through town, Highway K, as well as like Highway 79, Highway DD, things like that, 364, 70, 64. And explain like what the process is for those roadways. Those are not city roadways. So who maintains those, and what should we expect as far as that goes?
We always try to work together. We're all doing the same thing, just on different levels. And I will stick up for MoDOT because I know they get a bad rap a lot of times. But you look at a storm that goes from Kansas City to St. Louis, it snows for 4 hours. they've got that major interstate, and then they've got to come off and take the outer roads. They got to take the ramps. They got to take Highway K, 79. So there's a lot of stuff on their plate. So when we're going through there, and same thing with the cities that we surround, if we have to go through them, we'll keep our blade down because we have to go through them. But for the most part, they will concentrate on those roads at some point. And we'll concentrate on city roads. But we do help each other out the best we can.
Okay. So MoDOT maintains, the state maintains the state highways, the outer roads that are part of the state highway system.
Correct.
But you will have a blade down as you're going through. But it's your focus, the city's focus is on city streets, correct, residential streets, the city arterial, Bryan, Mexico, things like that. And then there have been times in the past that we've assisted other cities around us. Is that correct?
That's a good point. That happened several years ago. Was it Cottleville Land Darting Prairie or just Cottleville? I think it was just Cottleville. Yeah. So us and St. Peter's kind of split the city up, and one took the eastern half, one took the western half, I believe. But yeah, the guys love doing that too. They like helping out. It's we're on the same boat, and they like helping the community out. And so same thing with the tornado that came through here. It's probably a different subject, but we went down there and helped out Clayton and a few other cities with debris removal. So these guys jumped all over those chances to help out.
All right, great. I mean, it's just right. It's one community. We don't have. There's no necessarily lines drawn over, where Cottleville and O'Fallon end or whatever. So it's one to help out because our residents and their residents are crossing those to get to work and to get to check on family members. One last thing before we end here, what if we have an opportunity to talk to a resident right now that are listening, what can our residents do to help with the clearing, and not so much the clearing, but what can they do in the preparatory time now that we have a forecast? What should they do?
During the prep time, try and get all of the cars off of the road. If we know it's going to snow, having the roads as open as possible is going to be one of the biggest helps that we could ask for. I know it's not always feasible, but the more cars off the road that we can get, the better. That's going to open up and allow us to have a smoother transition through each subdivision, every road, to get the best possible service to the residents. And then patience. It takes time. We will get to it, but we don't have 200 trucks to slam something out in just a few hours.
So keeping the cars off the residential streets is probably one of the biggest things that a resident can do to help out and get it done faster, to get the road cleared faster in a more timely manner, keep them off that. Also, we all have to clear our own driveways, get a shovel out there and clear our own driveways. Is there something we can, as a resident, can do to help as we're clearing our own driveways during this process?
Yeah, I think they can go to our website. We got some good drawings up there to how they can push the snow off their own driveway to help us out to clear off little areas before their driveways. But not everybody can do that, and we understand that. And so it's a little frustrating for them, and we understand. We all have driveways, so we get it. A lot of the frustrations come in, and I hope they understand that we're not doing this intentionally. Like we talked about that storm in January. It lasted three days and it didn't really stop. So we were constantly just keeping one lane open. So by the time the residents got out there, they were cleaning their driveway and that part of the road we hadn't been on yet, thinking they're done. So we still had to widen everything out. And that put snow back in front of their driveway. So a lot of them got frustrated, but it was never intentional. It was just to get the road open more. And we've got no place to put the snow.
And as a resident, as I'm shoveling my own driveway, the one thing I do not want to do and what you don't want me to do is to shovel all my driveway snow into the street. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I should throw it to the left and right into my yard, side yards, not back into the street. Because what I'm assuming, if I throw it into the street, you're just going to push it right back in front of the driveway because you have nowhere to go with it.
Exactly.
So, okay. Anyway, any last things you would like to get out? I know you guys are crunched for time. You got to get back out, keep preparing for this one that's coming in, get your crews out there, get ready. Anything else you'd like to talk about for residents to know?
Just for me, it's a big shout out to our staff and everybody. I mean, I don't think you understand the staff we have and the determination they put into all this. Whatever happens with the city, and I don't know what it does, but every time there's an issue, regardless of what it is, everybody just takes it up like 2 or 3 notches, and it's just awesome to see.
Right.
And it's like the snow events, we want to get home to our family, so we want to get this done correctly. So no, big huge thanks to all our staff. They got tons of experience and been real lucky these last few years with them.
All right. Well, Jay Harigodt, Rob Kraatz, thank you guys both for being here. I wish you the best of luck in this upcoming snow event that we've got coming up. So stay warm, stay safe, and again, pass our appreciation on to all your crews as they prepare for this one. So
Thanks for having us.
I want to thank Rob and Jay for being here today on this special edition of O'Fallon Life on Air as we prepare for this next snow event. And make sure you hit like and subscribe on your podcast or however you're viewing us today so you can get notification the next time we drop a podcast. Until then, stay safe and stay warm, O'Fallon.